Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to build a custom portable and storable stage. One of the benefits of this stage is the fact that you can actually add or remove panels, build more panels to make it exactly the size that you may need. For my initial build, I decided to make a stage that was 16 feet wide and 12 feet deep with diagonals. I was going to put it in a corner. I ended up making some additional changes after I built it to make it even bigger, but this is what I started with, and this is what you'll see in this video. So for this stage, we'll be building 5 4x8 panels, 4 foot by 8 panels, and 2 diagonal panels for the back sections. So before we head to the hardware store, let's make sure we have everything we need and get an idea how much it's all going to cost. But when I got to the hardware store, I decided to kind of just maybe do about half first and then build the other half later. So here's what I got first. Okay, let's go and start building the first panel. I put 2x4s around the edges on this panel to get started. And at this point I also decided to make a jig out of the cut pieces because I knew I was going to make multiple cuts, about more than 20 spline cuts for the 2x4s for each panel. So I made a jig. And the jig makes it easy to make sure every piece is exactly the same length and makes it easy to cut. For the legs I decided to go with around 22 inches and decided to make a jig right away for those to make sure all the legs are exactly the same length. And it'd be easier to cut too because for my circular saw I can only do half each side, so it made actually cutting each piece really easy as well. So okay, it's time to assemble the first panel. And remember, the first panel will have all 4 legs, so go ahead and assemble the first panel exactly like this with all 4 legs. And here you go, the first panel complete. An important reminder when you're assembling the legs onto the panels, you have to sink the lag bolts into them because the panels can be butted up against each other. You can't, and the bolts have to be sunk in, so you have to use a wood boring tool. In this case, I use a 1 1/4 inch wood bore, as well as a drill to drill through the 2x4, as you can see. Okay, now this is the first step in attaching the next panel. First I used heavy-duty elbows and I attached them with lag bolts to the legs itself. Okay, here we have the first panel with the 2 elbows attached to its legs and the second panel assembled up above. And I already put the 2 legs on the second panel. So the second panel only needs 2 legs on the opposite end. And here it is with the panel actually resting on those elbows. And at this point we'll have to attach the 2 panels together. Okay, from underneath you would actually drill multiple holes and you would just basically bolt the panels together. And what I use is 1/2 inch bolts, 4 inch long 1/2 inch bolts go through both 2x4s and with wing nuts. There you go. And just kind of attach them that way, and then the 2 panels are complete. And you would just keep repeating the process for the third panel as well. In this case I actually just did the exact same thing for the second panel to the third panel, and you have 3 panels completely, and do that for the other 2 panels. In this particular panels 4 and 5. Just keep going until you got your stage exactly the configuration that you would like. Okay, at this point I started realizing that I really don't need those elbows. I can actually just use scraps 4x4 and just bolt them onto the existing legs, and they will just work just fine as to lay your panels onto as you build your stage. For the diagonal pieces, you won't need legs. You would just use the 4x4's L's for the diagonal platform for it to sit on and rest on. And okay, here we go with the diagonal pieces actually assembled and put into place and bolted into place as well. So, and it looks pretty solid. Actually, it is very solid. You can jump up and down on it. Yeah, and if you look underneath the stage, you can see where all the bolts, how it's all bolted together underneath there. For my stage, I decided to kind of make it look good and feel good to be on, and so I went to the local store and I got a piece of carpeting that actually fit the stage pretty good, pretty closely. So, and it's only 90 bucks. You can probably find one at your local store as well for similar. One of the beauties of this design is actually I was able to unscrew everything, disassemble everything in about 30 minutes. And as you can see, it took about 30 minutes to get it all unscrewed and just ready to be put away. And here you go. And it's all put away in a nice, neat stack, basically. And I just covered up with some tarp for whenever I have to use it. And the screws can just go in the box. I just got them in a cardboard box, but maybe I should get like a little toolbox thing for it with a wrench and all that. So. All right, so here's the final product, and after I built the stage, I added a couple extra panels to the back, so it ended up being quite a little bit deeper. So the stage dimensions ended up being 16 feet by 16 feet, which actually gave the drummer plenty of space in the back and gave us more space for our gear, and it actually worked out way better, more space available.